So last week we heard the story of Mary seeing Jesus and declaring, "I have seen the Lord," and you guys did a really good job of shouting that out. I could hear it on the recording very well, so. You're all internet superstars. No, I'm just kidding. So she had a personal experience of Jesus. Today, the disciples get to have their personal experience of Jesus, and their cry is, "We have seen the Lord." Like I always say, in the Gospel of John, to experience Jesus and to believe is to have a relationship. And to have a relationship with someone, of course, you have to interact with them. It would be a little hard if you didn't. But what about Thomas? He missed it. Now the story starts with the disciples hiding behind locked doors, afraid of the quote-unquote Jews, which means the leaders of the temple that had Jesus arrested, not Jewish people in general, since they themselves were also Jewish. They were scared that they were going to be arrested. Maybe they were hiding a little bit from Jesus too. They failed him and abandoned him, denied him even, and Mary told them, "I saw Jesus and he's going to find you guys soon." So maybe they were a little scared of what he was going to say. But of course, no locked door can hold Jesus back. So he appears, and instead of scolding them, he brings them peace. The peace that passes all understanding, right? That's one of our prayers. Peace that means more than tranquility. It's a deep and holistic sense of well-being. A peace that no earthly force can give. And then Jesus commissions them. He breathes the Holy Spirit onto them and sends them out into the world. This experience, I can not imagine what it was like. It was probably amazing and spiritual and, in the true sense of the word, awesome. But Thomas wasn't there. Maybe he drew the short straw and had to go out and buy bread or something, or get firewood. Who knows? The point is, he missed it. He missed Jesus coming back. So now he feels left out, and rightfully so, I think. We tend to think badly of Thomas. We give him a negative connotation because he says he wants to see the wounds and to feel them. But if you think about it, he's not asking for anything more or less than what all the other disciples got while he was out. The others got to see Jesus' wounds and touch them. The others got the Holy Spirit breathed on them, and Thomas got nothing. So maybe we should not call him doubting Thomas, but disappointed Thomas, or left out Thomas, or how did I miss that Thomas? Jesus, of course, doesn't leave Thomas out. He comes back in a week. I'm sure that was a very stressful week for him, for Thomas, I mean. And he gets to touch Jesus' wounds, and he gets everything that the others got. Now, in the end, Thomas gets his personal experience of Jesus, and he gives us his statement of trust and relationship. He calls Jesus my Lord and my God, which is a very personal declaration. And this is that recurring theme in John of relationship. Jesus forms lasting relationships with all the people that he heals in the stories. He has conversations with them. Here he appears to Thomas in order to solidify this relationship. Now, many of us have talked to our friends and families, and maybe even strangers, about God and Jesus, right? Right? Okay. If you haven't done this, come see me after. That's the point of what we're doing here, right? How many times have we told the story of Jesus? A lot. It's on TV, it's in the movies, it's everywhere. But how many people have we converted into believing Christians by just telling them the story of Jesus? Well, the answer is not very many. Some people do believe by hearing or reading the Bible, which is great. But the majority of us believe by seeing, right? touching, experiencing. And this is the same thing with Thomas. And it's the same thing with us. So we tend to talk about Thomas in a negative way, but maybe that's because we see ourselves in him. Have you ever had two friends that were so much alike that when they finally met, they hated each other's guts? Yeah. Usually in that case, they're either going to love each other or they're going to hate each other. And partially that happens because when you meet someone who's just like you or very similar to you, you see parts of yourself in them that maybe aren't so flattering, and it bothers you. We see our own doubts in Thomas. But why is doubt bad? It's not. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Doubt is actually a crucial part of faith. If you didn't have any doubts, if you didn't have any curiosity or questions, you never learn anything new, right? You never grow. When we get too sure of ourselves and our own opinions, we get stuck. And then there's no conversation to be had. And this isn't just religion. This goes for anything. We can sit by ourselves and think about how right we are all day long and never listen to another person. But if you do this, we miss the opportunity to form a relationship, because to have a relationship, you have to have discussion, give and take. And then you don't grow. Having open dialogue is key to growing in faith. Ask a lot of questions. In John's gospel, following Jesus is to have a relationship, and you can't do that without interacting, without talking, discussion and learning, and even doubts. Doubts are good. So week after week, we hear the story of God's love, and we experience God in our lives, hopefully, and then we grow in our faith. And faith is hard. It's hard to believe in something that you can't touch or see. And having doubts is totally normal, and it's necessary to have active faith. John holds Thomas up as an example of how the most skeptical person can come to faith. But Jesus didn't just come back in the past, physically in the past, but now he comes back to us day after day, week after week. Jesus is here now, in the bread and the wine, in the music, in the Spirit and the Word, but mostly in the people. Jesus is in us, in the community. And in the midst of all of our little crazy lives, with all of our doubts and fears and anxiety, Jesus will always come back, bringing that peace and bringing that Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit that helps us work through our doubts and give us the strength to come out from behind our own locked doors and live out the mission in the world. To go out and declare, I have seen the Lord. But not only to talk about it, to do it. Show our faith in our actions. And maybe that way we can help someone else have an experience of Jesus. And then maybe will have fewer doubts. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.